Let's talk Detroit, Oakland, Lions, Raiders. Raiders open up at -2. It stayed there. This total opened up at 51.5, quickly went to 50.5. I lean towards the Lions, and I lean towards another under, yet another under. Stafford looks good. Lions are a strong football team, some bad calls away from being second place in the division. Oakland's home field advantage is weak. Hopefully, Detroit won't let Darius Slay go. He's going to be needed moving forward. What do you think about the Lions and the under? Donnie Rightside, Lions, Raiders.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I like Oakland, finally getting back to the Coliseum. It's not going to be a baseball field since the Oakland Athletics are done. And I think you get a decent home environment, maybe a decent home field advantage in this game. It's hard to back Oakland because their defense is so poor. Not really causing a ton of turnovers, don't have a great pass rush, can't really slow down the run. The one thing that you always like is Matthew Stafford and those three wide receivers that can really get downfield against a pass rush and a passing secondary for the Raiders that, quite frankly, Jimmy, isn't very good. So when I'm saying both of these things, like, hey, maybe Oakland's decent here, decent there. The one thing I think is going to take place in this game is, again, and getting on that momentum charge, maybe even looking at a team total with the Raiders over. I really like what they're doing on offense. Maybe losing Rodney Hudson at center. That's going to be a little bit damaging. But getting back their tackles, getting back some guard play, getting back wide receivers. They have a really good offense. I got to give John Gruden a lot of props here. I thought once Antonio Brown was cut, this team was really going to be a laughing stock. He's pulled it together and making some really competent plays, play calling plays. Even look at last week, because I had a small team total play on the over 22 in that football game. Say, look at the rate. They covered it. It was fairly easy at that point. They covered it. But look in the second half. You want to talk about not having a lot of chances to actually score. They had 3 possessions in the second half. They scored a touchdown and a field goal out of those 3 possessions. I think if Detroit engages into a shootout type atmosphere, I think we get some points in this game. Usually in Oakland, you get some nice weather. And again, it's nice for the totals. Nobody's going to be kicking on a dirt infield in this game at any point. That should help out as well.
Mr. Rizzo says over is here. Jimmy Robert Weimer liking the Raiders' homecoming game and the over here. Detroit's D is weak and Oakland can score. Alex Ramirez leaning Raiders, Lions over. Tormino saying Stafford playing well. Detroit's defense is the problem. So a lot of people liking the overs. I'll add an extra question mark to that under spot. And then sidewise, Donnie, what do you think here? You think the Lions cover this short spread on the road?
It's tough. It's tough because, again, like it's kind of interesting. Like, how are we going to Oakland's so used to being on the road, team hotels, bonding together. Now they get back at home, family, friends, everybody gets back into the, friendly confines. That's a tough one for me this week because you normally just look and say, hold on, Detroit just has to win the football game, or it doesn't even have to win the football game to cover since it's a 2-point line. It's a little bit of a trap because I think Oakland is really prepared on offense, and Detroit finally getting outside the dome on the road. I'm actually leaning a little bit more towards Oakland early in the week, but I got to tell you, the better side for me is looking at maybe a team total for either one of Detroit or Oakland in this one, or just looking at a straight total as opposed to the side for myself, Jimmy.
Okay, going to need a lot more work. And Robert Weimer making a good point saying, is there a fire report? We'll need to get that information on what's going on with the fires in Los Angeles.